Now, regular show was so popular, have so many different ripoffs, and some of you saying, so what? Every show has their own ripoff. It's true, but usually it's just one or two, maybe three. But regular shows sort of one up everybody because it just have about six different ripoffs from regular show. Even that, I'm 100% sure I probably missed two or three more somewhere because it's sort of hard to keep count, understanding which one's the ripoff or which is the original. Even that regular show is not that original. It sort of is its own specific genre, specifically the Bill Ted sort of genre. That even that it was sort of subversive of the original genre of the Odd Couple. And yeah, believe it or not, it's sort of a ripoff of a ripoff of another different ripoff, and just became something else because it attempted to subvert it. And that itself, it's just sort of interesting because it really shows how similar Bill and Ted and Rexha really is, but yet so different. It's almost shocking. Of course, some of you are wondering what is Bill and Ted sort of genre. Well, Bill and Ted, the more I keep expanding, the more it will probably sound like a regular show. The whole least point of it, you found two characters. You are Bill and Ted, who destined to change the world by music. But the only problem is they're gonna be separated because they cannot pass an exam of history. To be confirmed they can pass it and simulate the future of the piece, they sent someone from the future to build Ted, giving them a time traveling machine so they can actually learn history by the moment it actually happens. And that's basically the whole pitch of the first movie. Even that, the sequels become more absurd. Like the second one is basically Bill Ted taking on the Grim Reaper because someone attempted to kill them using copycat robots who take their lives so they can change the future. And the third one is sort of growing up, Bill and Ted fighting out the music to unite everyone. And once again, it sounds so much like a regular show. Every single part, it's just sort of an evolution of being regular show. But be fair, the creator of regular show was never inspired by Bill and Ted. It's sort of obvious if you've seen the original regular show. It's just sort of two guys, sort of slackers, weird things sort of happen around them. It's because how the world it really is. But the regular show find a very interesting thing to make it subversive of the original Bill and Ted genre. Is that they have themes of maturity and growing up, being sort of kind of a young teen adult. And that's what make it sort of subversive because the original Bill and Ted franchise, they attempted to sort of mature, but the only problem is Bill and Ted is not established to be mature adults. And that's the huge difference of regular show and Bill and Ted. Now, besides that, let's sort of break it down of every single copycat of regular show. Before I get started, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon series, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, pull like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If you're not, that's fine too. If you do, thank you, because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And I'm getting close every single day, thanks to you. Of course, now let's get started to count up every single ripoff, at least the ripoff I know of this sort of kind of countdown in a way. Now let's get started of the video. Now the first one is sort of the most interesting one. It's basically called Mr. Meaty. That was before a regular show, not after, because this sort of genre fits more like Bill and Ted because you do follow two main leads who actually are teenagers, but the only difference is they work in a mall and where things happen, and they sort of kind of deal with it. One is sort of kind of Parker, who actually is a weird kind of tubby kind of guy. You had Josh, who is basically a stereotypical early 2000 pretty boy who attempted to get girls in the mall. But that's the thing that make it weird is the puppetry. And also the top of this is probably the only one is closest to actually regular show sort of themes that fixes the main problem of Bill and Ted is the fact growing up and using sort of weird things as metaphors actually growing up. And this is the thing that make it stands out the most. The puppetry. The puppetry is the thing that a lot of people say is probably the most weirdest thing about this series because Mr. Mini was weird, but they do have that Bill and Ted or regular show kind of formula. Specifically, more regular show is that things sort of weird happens. Like this one episode, Parker decided to make a meat girlfriend for his best friend, and Josh didn't like the idea to actually finally convince a date the beef creature. Once again, it's weird, but it sort of feels like regular show before regular show figured out how to make it kind of work. And that's then the only thing. You have other strange things happen on the mall of Mr. Mini, like the company could be sort of kind of corrupt, using meat to becoming something else or alive. That's a lot of questions, but they have that specific horror feeling that something is off, but you can't put your finger because that's not the focus. The focus is basically Parker and Josh living their lives, doing their job in Mr. Meaty. It's just sort of doing weird things, but yet it kind of works. I mean, it depends because the series didn't last that long. It only lasted 2 seasons. Even that, it became a cult hit. Even that, the fan base of Mr. Bitty do point out season 1 is the best season. Season 2 lacks that moment because they decided to mature the characters and attempted to give it sort of an ending to everything, even that it's just sort of strange and out there. Maybe because it's just sort of really made for puppetry, even that it's not puppetry very popular here in the West, but it really does work. It's also very weird. At the same time, you cannot deny the vibes of regular show or the vibes of Bill and Ted before regular show sort of subverted to what should been. But besides that, do you remember Mr. Meaty? And you think is probably a copy of Bill and Ted, not a regular show, but it's sort of the prototype of the regular show till regular show submitted it. Now, let's talk about the next ripoff of this series. Now, this second one is kind of interesting because this is sort of a Nickelodeon show like Mr. Meaty. Believe it or not, Nickelodeon show has a lot of ripoffs of regular show. They really want that sort of audience, some reason. And this ripoff was called Sanjay and Greg. That is sort of obvious. It felt like a clone of basically regular show, but sometimes it not tend to be a clone, tend to be its own thing, but yet it follows the same genre. Specifically of two bros, but sort of united of the original genre of two odd couples living together, but forcing in the subgenre of regular show where things sort of happen. But interesting enough, is this fellow a boy who is Sanjay, his best friend is a snake. But no one really noticed Ashley the snake was a snake. They pretend to be human, even that end of the series, they point out, oh no, we all knew, we're just pretending because of you. But besides that, the series was kind of okay. It feels of the art style, that sort of grittiness that you find on the Adult Swim, and that sort of kind of out there kind of potty humor or toady humor you find on maybe regular show a little bit, but sort of misunderstanding what regular show why it works so well. It sort of uses sort of weird ideas to sort of set up maturity of the characters or themes. Like actually for example, in regular show, you do have a theme of drinking, but using wings as sort of a metaphor because it's sort of a kids show. And this one has the same theme, but it never really understands why this metaphor works. It just does something else. It just says with wings, but without the context, the weight of this, why some characters keep going to that specific place to keep eating wings or looking for wings. It's because this is a beer sort of metaphor. But even that, they just don't really have a focus of Sanchez and Greg because they just kind of misunderstand it because each single episode goes a little bit different direction. Like they lack sort of focus because they think regular show is all about the craziness, but the craziness followed the theme of maturity. And this Sanchez and Greg sort of don't get that. They have that sort of weird aesthetic, that sort of grunge feeling, that sort of how life is sort of kind of like a bummer, but it's up to you to make it happy and great. And that's fine, but they don't have substance. And I think this is the reason why Sanchi and Greg sort of kind of fails or be forgotten because it just kind of didn't work as well. It was kind of interesting to look at. It feels something from Adult Swim or MTV back in the 90s when they used to do cartoons. But it just lacked focus. It just sort of random little things about being scared, doing something else, or not separate about your best friend. That could actually work, but they never really focus, and that's the problem. Even that it's not the only show who has the same problem, like the next show about to talk about. Now, this show called Bread Withers, that's now the third attempt of Nickelodeon to copy and paste regular show, and this is sort of interesting how Nickelodeon was sort of desperate to copy their sort of ideas for Cartoon Network, but keep failing over and over again, except for Mr. Meeting, that's the only one that got it right, but it was sort of too soon and they ended it too fast. But besides that, Red Withers was basically the most hated one because it feels so copy and paste of least the ideas of the original regular show because it's all about hype one-liners and very good sound effects. And that's basically it, even that Breadwinners does have a story because you do follow two friends who actually run a company about bread by ducks and with other ducks because they have themes of the whole universe of their world is ducks. And that's fine, but even that, I can't call it a ripoff or attempted to copy the formula of regular show. It's because one specific thing. This show was sort of a prank. It was a troll by the creators making I don't remember how long the pilot was. I think 2-3 minute pilot. Give it to Nickelodeon because the creators, how I'm quoting them, they did it because they thought it was a joke, a really funny joke. They were realizing no one will pick up the show because how basic and generic, how hey kids kind of mentality this show really is. Like like specific meme of community that sort of how you doing kids, that I'm like you. That's the thing they attempted to do with the pilot, but sort of making a mockery out, but not make it sort of self-aware. It was sort of a troll joke by the creators. It just sort of weirdly got picked up, and the creators were sort of surprised, saying, I guess we make it a show. And that's what the reason why I don't think people should actually hate this show, because it's just a joke went too far. Even that they attempted to expand the idea, the only problem is the deal was a troll. It's sort of how to make it work, and this was sort of felt kind of flat because the whole show is just one-liners, a hype moments, and basically just being happy. And that's basically the whole show because it doesn't really want to develop or get metaphor or making horrible moments very interesting to make the characters grow up. And that's sort of the problem in the annoyance of the fans who actually like regular show, who hate sort of copycats because keep misunderstanding the original show. And this one is one of the most misunderstood ones because once again, it's never meant to have a copy of regular show, but it fits the themes and lines of the genre of regular show. And it's sort of kind of weird. This one sort of prank went super far, but other than that, do you care about breadwinners or you heard of it because it sort of came and went, and no one really talks about it that much if just doing a countdown or you remember this show. But besides that, let's talk about I think the other show that Disney made that maybe some people forgot even exist. Pickle and Peanut, if you remember that. In fact, this is sort of the last show I would talk about. Even that 100% sure, I think I'm missing one or two. Yeah, I think I know which one. But besides that, Pickle and Peanut, if you never heard of it, it's sort of a Disney XD original. It could be the last shows or semi-last shows that Disney XD did to the convert to be more isekai Western version of cartoons. But besides that, Pickle and Peanut was the same genre of regular show, but this time two characters who called Pickle and Peanut work in sort of kind of like a small store or grocery store kind of like weird universe is the best way to describe it. It's sort of kind of they trying to copy the art style of the missing world of Gumball, but did it in a way it feels something that Adult Swim does, like a parody of a missing world of Gumball, in other words, but done it a very odd way that a lot of people kind of describe it as sort of a cartoon stoner college dropout type of show because it really feels they really got the vibe of regular show, but never the themes or it's just weird concepts of regular show because Pickle and Peanut is just two idiots who work in the grocery stores but lacks kind of focus. Specifically, each single episode, something completely random happens but doesn't really connect to any themes at all. It's like they saw regular show and say we can copy that completely but missing the sort of the mature mentality and the metaphors and also all the references it sort of help out building the world because regular show is does references but yet not just oh remember this, they actually built of the reference making something completely unique and different and making kind of fun of it. Even that you don't know the reference, you still enjoy whatever episode they're trying to do of that reference. And pickle a pickle and butter or butter a pickle, I just don't care about this show. That honestly, it just doesn't care. It does weird things that kind of grabs your attention for a little while till you get a little bored. I think the best way to describe it is brain rots because that's all this show really is. That people don't want to talk about it or even make videos that often. Only if you're sort of a critic or a nostalgic critic who reviews old shows to compare it is any better than we actually thought it really was. But it's sort of hard to say anything about the show because it didn't really leave an impact. Just sort of that one question, why Disney make this show? Obvious to copy and paste a regular show, but what was the intended audience of this? Like the other shows, you could tell what the audience they want, especially what type of show or network really was, like Nickelodeon, who has a ton of ripoffs, but at least they know their audience they actually want who watch regular show, but tended to get the younger audience of regular show. And Pickle and Onion, or this Disney show, I don't know who they were aiming for because it's just sort of brainwashed. They're sort of hard to focus, or you do focus, you use it just to fall asleep because it lacks ton of focus, and that's best way to describe it. I mean, both of them are idiots. They get impressed by anything, and they get distracted by anything doing their job, and they open this sort of universe. They should deal with it whatever they need to do, and they get out, but never represents or never mature of the moment, and that's just sort of strange and like. It could work. It should work because it got the vibe right. And the only problem is they're sort of aimless. It just don't say anything. And I guess that is the worstest thing you can do becoming a ripoff. Is the fact you just don't say anything. Even trying to copy the same themes in the original, you just didn't understand how it works. Even that it's trying to do its own thing is sort of obvious. Even that every single show trying to do their own unique thing, but none of them really had focus except for probably Mr. Meaty. But all of that, it's just sort of a very weird show that could be the last sort of clone. But to be fair, just for extra bonus, we do talk about one more show that is very similar to a regular show, but yet is subverted becoming something else, creating a new kind of genre, but it never really made it popular, that genre. Now, the one I'm talking about called Strange Hill High, that is sort of a BBC show for kids that made for the UK audience specifically by using sort of puppetry like Mr. Meaty, but focus on instead of two characters, you focus on three. Each one of them is sort of kind of stereotype kid. There's the kid who actually is sort of the trial maker, the sort of nerdy but not fully nerdy, and the other one is just sort of lost most of the time. But to make it interesting, it do follow the same sort of kind of themes on maturity and growing up, but yet never learning anything new to grow up. But how to better describe it that some fans kind of say a sort of regular show meets Gravity Falls. In a way, that's the best way to describe it because it doesn't really have this sort of arching story. It's just sort of very weird, very charming, over the top. But the only problem is it didn't get the time to shine after 2 seasons that was actually canceled because the ratings wasn't picking up. But ironically, this show stopped showing on the BBC after the pandemic hit. If this show lasted just a few months more with the pandemic hit, this series could actually be a hit for them because how really unique and refreshing really is. It really kind of got the themes of regular show, but yet not really. But at the same time, I still kind of recommend it. Of all the other shows I talk about, this show deserves to be the most talked about because how out there, refreshing, and kind of clever it really is. Even that you just use puppets, they really use puppets, but a very unique kind of shape-shaping puppets that just grabs your attention. I just recommend just watch one episode. If you just watch any random episode because it's not have a story to link everything, it's just episodic. But yet, I highly recommend it. It kind of got what regular show trying to do, but yet it still lacks one specific thing. It doesn't have the maturity of the original show, but yet it kind of does. You have moments like they want to grow up, even that is sort of their future, because everything about this show is sort of what their future who can attack or be responsibility, but using weird themes to make it clear of the main three leads. Even that it doesn't feel like a regular show. You can easily say it's more like a Gravity Falls copy, but it lacks certain specific things to make it a copycat of Gravity Falls. It leads more to the regular show, and that's the thing that make it unique. You can't really pinpoint it how make this show special. At least I wanted to talk about it because I want to recommend people to watch this show. But other than that, I will probably make another video of this show, just clarifying more. But besides that, which of the shows you actually heard, or which of the shows you believe is sort of the closest one who understand the genre of Bill and Ted, or the genre of subgenre of regular show? Tell me down below. Let me know. And honestly, I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.